time again to talk about the last 5 books that I have read and all of my thoughts on them. So the first book that I am going to talk about is The Humans by Matt Haig. This is a book that my husband and I read together. It was the book that we would read while we were in the car, and I really enjoyed it. It is an adult science fiction novel about this alien who comes and takes over this man's body, who is a mathematician who has solved this crazy equation that will jump the Earth into like this huge technological advancement, and this alien race kind of feels threatened. So the purpose of this alien is to come into this man's life and to destroy the evidence that this equation has been solved. And then as the alien is in this guy's body, he becomes a little attached to life on Earth, to his wife and his child. And it is just this hysterical novel. The first half is really hysterical of this alien that is in this guy's body and trying to decipher life on Earth and not really understanding the way humans work and why they do the things that they do. And it is just really humorous, and then the last half is just really just heartfelt and really examining life. And I just found this book really fun, for one, and I also found it a lot deeper than I was anticipating. I really thought it was just going to be this fun, lighthearted book about this alien who takes over a guy's body and has to deal with life on Earth, but it really does dive more into really what does life mean, and what does it mean to be human, and what does it mean to live a life that is fulfilled, and to do the things that scare you, and to really embrace life. And it was so good. So I highly recommend this if you are looking for a good adult science fiction. It is definitely adult. I would not recommend it for anyone under the age of 18, mainly because there's a lot of language and he does deal with a little bit more adult issues at some point, but it is really hysterical, really fun, really heartwarming, and just interesting, and just not like anything that I've ever read before. So highly recommend The Humans by Matt Haig. And then the next book that I'm going to talk about, I actually don't own this. I listened to The Selection by Kiera Cass, the first book in the Selection series. I've already read this series, but I needed a book to listen to because I was traveling or something. I don't remember why. I don't know. So I listened to it, and I have to say that I really enjoyed listening to this book. The narrator was a little bit annoying, but she really did encompass a 16-year-old, 17-year-old girl, and it was just really good, and I just really enjoyed it. It was just really fun, and I mean, I love this series. I love the story, and the audiobook really does bring more to the story. I think it really helped me picture the world a little bit clearer, and it was just really enjoyable. So I highly recommend listening to the audiobook. Definitely read the book first, but then listen to it if you are wanting to reread it or needing something that is just fun to listen to. So that is The Selection by Kiera Cass. The next book that I'm going to talk about is the first in a new series, and it's another audiobook that I listened to, and it is Ruby Red by Kirsten Gier, and this is the second book in this series. It's the Ruby Red trilogy. This is Sapphire Blue, the second one, and this series follows this girl Gwen whose family has this time travel gene, and there is only a certain amount of people that have this gene in their family, and it's, you know, all this scientific stuff of who is going to have this gene, and it's supposed to go to her cousin, and then it ends up going to Gwen. And it's just her experience of time traveling, but then also of trying to figure out this mystery of there is things that are happening in the past that shouldn't be happening, and trying to figure out who is behind it and what is going on. And I just really enjoyed it. For one, the audiobook was fantastic, and then there's just the story itself is just really intriguing, and it's a different twist on time travel. There's the rules for the way that they time travel are really interesting, and just the world itself is just fantastic. It's a lot of historical fiction and time travel, and it's just really interesting. I ended up giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and I have bought the second book, and I cannot cannot wait to continue in this series. The book definitely ended on a cliffhanger, and I have to say that normally when I listen to audiobooks, I have to be doing something, like I'm cleaning the house or I'm driving or something that, you know, is the reason why I'm listening to audiobook. But this book, it was so interesting that I just wanted to sit and listen to it. Like, I would get in bed at night and I would listen to a couple hours or whatever. And so it's like, there's just something about a book that if the audiobook can bring you into it and all you just want to do is sit and listen to it, that's a good story. So I definitely recommend the Ruby Red trilogy, the first one being Ruby Red. It's a really different take on time travel of young adult, of just, I don't know, it was refreshing to read a young adult novel that wasn't centered around a romance, that wasn't centered around, you know, the one savior. And it was so interesting. I'm really looking forward to continuing on this series. So that is Ruby Red by Kirsten Gier. And then the next book that I read, I absolutely loved this book, and I finally finished it, and that is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. I have a full gush about this book from my Tome Topple wrap up, and so I'll put a link down below with the time of where I talk about fully of this book. But my little short snippet, I absolutely love this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's an amazing adult fantasy book with just amazing characters, great character development, great plot, great everything. This book was so amazing. And then the last book that I'm going to talk about is The Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the last book in the Harry Potter series, and this is a reread. I believe this is the 3rd time I've read this book, and it was such an amazing time. I just love how Harry Potter books just bring you in and just suck you in, and you just cannot stop reading. I just love the detail that goes into all these books, and that there really is not a wasted moment in any of these books. Because, you know, like when you're reading a book and you're reading a chapter, you're like, that was kind of just, you could probably take that chapter out and the whole story would be okay. But now with the Harry Potter books, I really do feel that everything that happens has a purpose and a reason and a plan. And yes, you could take a little bit of some of it out, but really most every single detail that is in there, down to, you know, the color of Harry's eyes is so important. And I just, it's so good. And I really enjoyed rereading the last book and just seeing a lot of details that I haven't seen before, and catching things that I haven't caught before, and seeing just the brilliance of these stories all over again is so amazing. So I cannot wait to reread the series again. Okay, so those are the last 5 books that I have read, books 26 through 30. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, or what your thoughts on them, or if you have any more questions of my thoughts, or whatever you want to put down in the comments down below. And guys, I hope you're having a great reading month, and